Britain will have a new prime minister on Monday. Bookmakers and opinion polls, they point to a victory for Foreign Secretary Liz Truss, beating her rival, former Chancellor Rishi Sunak. Whoever enters number 10, though, will have a very full in-tray. Joining us now is Bloomberg's Lizzy Burden. So, Lizzy, what is the issues, the economic challenges that either Truss or Sunak will face once they enter office?
Well, to put the in-tray in historical context, this is a worse economic situation than Theresa May inherited post-Brexit. It's worse than David Cameron had post-financial crisis. You actually have to go all the way back to the early 1970s when you had the oil shock and the miners' strike to find a decent historical comparison. You've got double-digit inflation. Goldman Sachs says it could go past 22% next year. You've got this largely driven by the energy shock, which could be the new normal. Energy bosses warning that more than half of households could be in energy poverty. And then workers in response asking for higher wages. They've got bargaining power because of all the labour shortages. That's adding to the inflation, but they can't feel the benefits because the inflation's swallowing wage growth. So in response, the BOE hiking rates could hit 4.25%, which is going to be a nasty shock for anyone who's a mortgage borrower used to a rock bottom interest rate. And then put it all together, the Resolution Foundation told us yesterday could be the worst squeeze on living standards in a century. And the BOE is seeing 2 years of zero or negative economic growth.
You know, we were just talking to Simon Harvey about, hesitancy to buy UK assets centering around the political outcome, centering around deficit spending. What would that look like under Truss? What is her economic outlook?
Well, throughout the campaign, she's expressed her preference for tax cuts over handouts, as she calls them, although she has given a little leeway and said she will give some direct support. Remember, when it was Rishi Sunak as Chancellor, the International Monetary Fund blamed his premature fiscal consolidation for the rising recession risk in the UK. Truss says her tax cuts could boost economic growth. Sunak says all this borrowing, as we've had the warnings from Simon Harvey and from Charlie Bean, the former deputy BOE governor who was on Bloomberg TV, it could be a crisis for gilts and sterling. And you're already seeing it. Look at the pound. Since Johnson's resigned, it's performed worse than 132 of 150 top currencies. But to fund all this, Truss says that she would change the Treasury's fiscal rules. She says the Treasury and the BOE are part of the blob, her name for the economic orthodoxy. She also blames the BOE for the inflation crisis, so she says she'd changed its mandate. So all in all, it's a lot of policies that aren't individually radical, but put them together and you can see markets' concern already.
What about the team around Truss, of her economic advisors? Do we have any idea of what that would look like?
The guy who's tipped to be her chancellor is Kwasi Kwarteng. She co-authored a book with him actually in 2012 promoting deregulation and free markets. And if it is Kwarteng, it would be the first time there's such alignment on economics between numbers 10 and 11 Downing Street since the David Cameron-George Osborne partnership. But it might be outside pressures that mean they have to go against their values. You could also see Jacob Rees-Mogg, the Brexit Opportunities Minister in the Treasury, and John Redwood, he used to head up Margaret Thatcher's Downing Street policy unit. But the big question really for Westminster watchers is what will Sunak do? Will he join a Truss cabinet, or will Truss even have him back?